Hey guys, it's Orsi, and this is a temporary setup, although I'm thinking about getting something similar when I'm rearranging things in my room. So probably I'm gonna stick to side views and use the overhead for flip throughs only, because it's so much easier to set up on the videos like this than the other way around. And I'm moving things around, and I'm trying to make things easier for myself in the future. But right now I still have this deck empty, so I decided to just film a video. So while I'm rearranging things in my room, because I can't do that too quickly, I still have videos up on my channel. So this is gonna be a mini collection update. What I was thinking, because I had a really lovely chat not that recently anymore with Dan Michelle. I'm gonna link the video in the description if you haven't seen it. We talked about Fandom decks, and I think someone suggested, or just someone was asking about what Fandom decks I have, and then I looked through my collection and I realized that I have more than, I was thinking. So I decided to, show all these decks in a video update. I'm not sure entirely if I'm gonna keep all of them, because I'm going through a really huge downsizing at the moment. Not isn't coming from outside pressure. It's just I went back to the feeling, but I want decks on my table that I actually use and I love using, not just, oh, this is fun, I'm gonna use it maybe in the future, hopefully, fingers crossed, because these days I don't have time to really read for others, and I only read for myself when I have an issue or a bigger question. I'm doing daily polls to get to know decks, but I definitely don't read as much, and maybe that's gonna change, maybe not, but I would like to have decks on my table, that I actually really love and enjoy using. So just a disclaimer, I guess, so that if you watch this video in the future and ask about the deck, I might not have it, but I'm gonna tell you all my experiences with them at this very moment. Okay, that was a really long-winded intro, but let's start with a deck that I actually really love. I made a tiny pouch for it, and this is a Fandom deck because I have books that are from the same author. It's Maggie Stiefvater, I think that's how you say her name, but if not, I'm really sorry. It's not directly connected to the books. The Raven Prophecy is the tarot, and I'm looking back. What's the Raven Cycle? I think that's the trilogy, but it's still, the deck still has those symbologies, and it has that feel that the books have. So it's a wonderful deck, and this deck has a very special place in my collection. I use it to read for myself only. I don't think I try not to just use it for myself, but at this very moment it's pretty much just for myself, and I use it for ancestor work, which I hoping to what is this, expand on, because I don't regularly do that, but I want to set up a so to speak practice. I don't know why I said so to speak, but I guess just in my case it's gonna be so to speak. But it's a wonderful, simple deck, but it has layers and layers, especially if you read the book. I don't know how this deck looks like and it's shiny, but hopefully the light catches it in a way that you can actually see it. So stuff like this, like the devil, it's a mask, and you can just say things, or pull in information what to do, know about people wearing masks, and work with that energy as a devil. But if you know what this mask is doing in the books, it's an added layer that's just wonderful. And I don't know, I just felt like this could or would be a good deck for I know it's not especially true. When I got it, when I trimmed it, and I started using it, that was the first thing that I did. I did an ancestral reading with it, and it was so on spot, or I just felt that the energy was in sync with the deck that I never really questioned doing that type of work with it anymore. So it has a special place on my altar space. I keep it always with a selenite, to keep it clean. So yeah, that's definitely a deck that is a fandom deck, because I got it because I liked the idea of how it looks. Then I read the book, became a fan, and then I got it. So it's kind of like a fandom deck, but it's definitely not a collection piece. Something else that I just, and I'm not going in any particular order. I just pulled all the decks out that I have that has anything to do with any fandom. And one of them is a playing card, which I don't use it yet because I don't know how to read with playing cards yet. But it's the Lord of the Ring, the Fellowship of the Ring. It was a playing card back in those days when the movies came out. Everything was connected to Lord of the Rings. You could buy anything and everything when the movies came out, and I just bought it because yay, Elijah Wood and the movies. And now I keep it in my, oh, look at that, how pretty. Oh, is that the queen? Interesting. Amongst my other decks, because one day I'm really hoping that I will actually learn how to read from playing cards, because I find it fascinating. I'm just really bad with numerology, as in using that instead of my just feelings. So it's a challenge. But look at that, Gandalf as a Joker. Isn't that perfect? Like, I think it's a good deck. And it's simple because it's a playing card deck. I could make a Lenormand out of it, but I don't want to. So yeah, I'm keeping it because I want to learn, and it doesn't take up a lot of space, and it's not really a special deck in a way that I feel bad for hanging on to and not using it. Next one, let's go with one of my biggest fandom, Harry Potter. I was very, very excited for this one. This was the Magical Meditation deck. I pre-ordered it without looking, which was a mistake. I really like the pouch. It says the outline or silhouette of Roxford. No, it's Hogwarts in English, sorry. But this is not a bad one. I mean, if you actually do use these, you can just read the quotes, because there's always a quote, or not always. Okay, not always, but in one of the categories there's a quote and then some questions that you can answer to. So it's not a bad one in this case, or in that sense. In that sense, I can't really speak. But I thought that the cards are gonna be individual. Like identity is gonna be the sorting hat. Like values and beliefs. I don't even know why folks would be on it, but whatever. Like personal growth. Oh God, I don't know the English name for it. Whatever, what this is. If you know Harry Potter, relationships with Hedwig could be, but it's the same question for every category. So it's not something that I use, and I was hoping that I could find a way to use it, but I really don't. So I'm probably going to. I'm not sure if I can sell it. I altered it and made it smaller because the cards were huge. I mean, it's regular oracle size this way, but the cards were as big as the guidebook. So I'm like, who the hell can? I mean, I know there are people who have big hands, not me. But I really want to keep the bag. So I don't know, but it's not fair to, maybe if I'm gifting it away, it's not a problem. I don't know if anyone, wants this deck and would pay for shipping only without the bag. If you're interested, do let me know. Because, this is just honestly taking up space and I'm just not using it, even though I really wanted it, but no. So I definitely bought it because I thought that this is going to be a good one, but because Harry Potter, so yeah. Okay, next one. It's a relatively new deck. I haven't really had a chance to work with it. It's the Magic of Marvel. I didn't pre-order it. This was a gift that I got for my birthday. Well, was it for... Yeah, I think it was for my birthday. No, or it arrived for my birthday, but because my friend pre-ordered it like ages ago when finally it was, released. So I'm more of a MCU, as in the movies fan. I don't really know the comic books, so I'm not sure if, the descriptions and whatever are fitting for that, or the way the characters are illustrated are good for the comic books. So, my relationship with this deck is just based on, oh, look at that, my knowledge of the movie. So for example, I have no idea who the Wiccan is, but it looks really cool, so I would love to know. It looks like a good deck. I'm still bothered by the fact that there's one card that has another card's description here, because it's not a type of font or setup that can be easily just, fixed or re-texted without really looking like weird. I'm assuming it's gonna be fixed in a later edition, but I'm not entirely sure if I'm honestly getting this deck again just for that. I will give it a chance, but I'm not as excited about this one, even though it has potential. It's not a bad deck, I'm not saying that. I just never think about pulling it out. So I don't know if I want to keep it, because I'm more so into having more tarot decks right now than oracle decks. So that could be a part of it. It was a gift, but I'm on a side of things that even if I gift you something, if you don't like it, if it's just wasting space there, don't keep it just because I gifted it to you. And I kind of apply that to gifts I get. Maybe, like, I know people are different, but if I don't use it, I'm not gonna keep it. Same goes for Britney. I mean, I was excited for getting a Britney Oracle because Britney is Britney, and it's not a bad one, by all means. I don't like the box setup. It's really hard to get the cards out if you have the guidebook. So first you have to get the guidebook out, and then the cards, and maybe it's, like really pretty to look at, or it's a cool setup, but I don't think it's practical enough, and I'm bothered by stuff like that. The illustration is great. Britney looks Britney, and we have things that are iconic and are connected to her, but to be honest, there's so many things that we don't know about Britney right now, what she went through, and I'm much more interested in that, not because I want to, just delve into her trauma or anything like that, but because that's her real experience. These are fun memories. I remember that performance, and that was just such a huge thing back then. And all these are awesome, but it's half of the story. And I understand that no one can speak for her, so I don't want anyone to make a deck that you're assuming something that's not true. It's just that I used to love this cover. I don't know if I want to use a deck that, even though it's it's Britney, bitch, it's not the side of Britney that makes me proud to be her fan, because even though I don't really fangirl anymore, because I don't like to do that anymore. People who are in the spotlight, most of them are assholes if you think about it, so I don't want to be a fan of someone. And I'm not, not talking about Britney, but just people in general that later turns out that they were horrible people, so I'd rather not do that anymore. I'm a fan of works of people. And see, I just absolutely hate how you need to put this one back into the guidebook. So I haven't really worked with the deck yet as much to be, like fair to decide if I want to keep it or not. I love the cover. I think just this looks really Britney, but This is the old one. I mean, like, you know, there's a clear line before the censorship and everything like that, conservatorship, and you know, they're just, I don't know. So I don't know what I'm gonna think about. You know, like what I wanna do with this one. Had to take a tea break, but since my mug is fitting the theme very well, I'm gonna just put it next to James. So the next one is the Dungeons and Dragons. I never played the game. I talked about this in the first impression of this of the deck, but I read a lot of books growing up that later I found out were in the Dungeons and Dragons universe, or I don't even know, like word. This is the first edition and the first printing of the first edition, so there's no titles for the minors yet. I reached out to the publisher and got an answer, and they told me that, you know, I was inquiring how to know if, you know, the titles are there anymore or already or not. And unfortunately, it's not easy to say because it's still gonna be the first print with even with the titles. It's just it's the second run, and nothing is indicating first run or second run in the ISBN number or, you know, anything like that. So I'm still just waiting. And because book depositories sometimes have a huge or a bigger stock from decks, because I know that on Amazon you can already get the new one, but I'm not sure, even though they are connected, like book depository belongs to Amazon now. Look at that. I'm still worried to just order a second copy and get the same one without titles in the minor. So I'm trying to be nice, not nice, I'm trying to be good and not order the deck again until summer. I think that's gonna be like a year after it's getting released or something like that. So that should be good for the first print to sell out, I hope, because I don't think, you know, like I was thinking about reaching out to book depository, that I don't think they can check that for me. So I'm just saying that I'm not gonna keep this version as soon as I have the new one. But this is definitely something that I'm going to keep forever and ever, and until I die, la la la, and all that jazz, because I love this world. As in general, I love fantasy. I love these stories, and it's just I think it's a very, very good deck. It's been put together really interestingly. It's not a copycat Rider-Waite clone, even though it's similar. Some cards are differently interpreted, and I really like what they did with it. So this is a good deck. It's not just a fandom deck, I think, but it's definitely good one if you like fantasy books, and, you know, if you grew up reading I wanted to say authors quickly, but R.A. Salvatore and Margaret, what was it? Oh God, I never know. Tracy Hickman and, you know, Margaret Weiss. What was it? Margaret Weiss? I think so. You know, they created those dragon books, like very clearly D&D, which I had no idea. But if you love those books, if you grew up reading those books, then you're gonna love this deck. So this is gonna stay in my collection, even though I really hate the box as well, because it just like I hope this was fixed in the second printing. But if not, I'm still gonna make a pouch for it and just get rid of the box because I don't like it. Not this one, the second one. Okay. Next one is my, you guys know, if you guys are, you know, new to my channel, you have no idea about my relationship with this deck. But if you are, you know, returning people, and I welcome everyone, then you know that this is an absolute just, I'm gonna keep this deck because of the fandom. Even though I, you know, want to have decks that I read with on my table, this is gonna be kept somewhere just because I love Supernatural and just to be able to be annoyed with the whole experience with this deck. So I don't like this deck. Not for a Fandom deck, not for a regular deck. The pips, where they are not fully illustrated, they are lazy. I really don't like the cardstock. It's really hard to shuffle. The guidebook is good. That's good. I mean, Jack for the Star is so good. And when the deck is good, it's really good. And when the deck is really bad, it's really bad. So it's an interesting thing. But yeah, so I wouldn't. This is not a deck that I would actually suggest getting either way. So I'm really hoping that one day they're gonna just remake it and issue a second one, because this could be a good deck. It's not. It's annoying. And because you can feel and see the potential, it's annoying. But I got it because it's supernatural, and I didn't regret it, because I think I would be still just curious about how it is, even if I would watch 100 million videos about it, because when you're involved in a fandom, when you love something, you want to decide for yourself. And I like the box, as in, you know, it's compact. I like the art on it and stuff like that. I just really hope that one day they're gonna redo it and expand on it. And I don't care how, just please do it, because this could be a great deck. But right now, I just hate it. Okay, next one is an obviously good one, so that, you know, I don't just show bad ones, is the Game of Thrones deck, which I was very, very lucky with getting the first edition with the cards, with the linen cardstock. And that's why I'm, you know, because I got it from Book Depository, that's why I'm a little hesitant to get the Dungeons and Dragons, because for some reason I managed to snatch up the linen version, which was out of print for a while when I ordered this one. So who knows what's in Book Depository, the Book Depository's warehouse currently. It would be fun to go there, actually, to look through things. I mean, just, you know, just to see how they look. That would be fun. But this is a great deck. And I think it's good even if you don't know the fandom. Or maybe not. Maybe you have to know who Jon Snow was to know that why the King of Cups fits. But the illustrations are typical RWS in a sense that, you know, we have a King of Cups and there's a king looking, or a regal looking dude on it. 8 of Swords, someone sitting with a lot of swords, surrounded with a lot of swords. So if you just go by symbology, it looks really cool. Then you can still use this deck if you like the art style, obviously. But if you know the fandom, I think that there's just so much thing that you can pull from. So many stories, like the map for the world makes sense either way. But, you know, in this one especially. So yeah, I think you can use it even. This is quite the opposite of the Supernatural Tarot. You can use it even if you know the fandom and even if you don't, because it was well done, in my opinion. Obviously, everything is always my opinion in this channel when I'm not talking to people. But yeah, this is a really good one. I definitely recommend either way, if you love the fandom or even if you don't and you just like the art style. And it looks nice. I like the box. It looks like an old cigar box. So that's, you know, just nice to have it somewhere outside of what did I wanted to say? Oh god, you know, like not wardrobe. I was looking for the other word, but I lost it, so I don't care. Of course I care, because I'm annoyed that I don't remember the word right now. Because, you know, when you want to say something quickly and the word just slips. God, I should cut this one out, but you know what? No, I'm gonna just leave here because I struggle to open the other deck that I bought because Harry Potter, and I didn't realize that the box was like square, even though it's playing cards, so it could be different, and I think it should be. I don't really understand why they used a square thing for a playing card deck. Also keeping it because, you know, I'm really using yes and no questions, with playing cards, so you know, nothing spectacular. Kind of like that this is the hard no. In my book, hard no is Slytherin, and the maybe no is Ravenclaw. Ooh, I know. Obviously, because Hufflepuff had to be the maybe yes, and Gryffindor is the yes. Just looking for... so, yeah, there's the jokers with the crest for each house. Oh, no, it's not the joker. That's the joker. It's the other one. Yeah, Hungarian translation is the only thing that I remember, so you don't need to know that. The queen. And there's not a lot of variety with illustrations, but this is just simple. Let's make people buy a playing card. This is the back because they love Harry Potter. You know, it's just obvious money grab. The aces are like this. But you know what, I don't mind. I don't mind. Sometimes I don't mind because it wasn't that expensive, and I kind of still like the old parchment look of the card, even though it developed the bow sitting in a tin, so that's interesting. But it kind of feels and looks old, and you know, if I learn actually how to do playing card readings, this could be one that I could actually just throw in my bag if I want to go somewhere, because the tin would be good for that. So that's definitely staying. Only a few decks left. The Terror of the Little Prince is a fandom deck because it's based on a book, but it's also one of my all-time favorite tarot decks. It's so well done, and I love the story. It makes me sad, but I just love the story. And the deck was really well done, and I think it's a really underrated deck. It reads fantastically. The illustrations are wonderful. This deck has one of my favorite death cards. I don't know if I can show you quickly. Here. This is the death card, and if you know the story, then you know why the stars with that looked like a rose. It's just good there, and we have the snake here. So I don't know, I just love the lovers. It's my all-time favorite lovers card, and I just sing praises every time that I talk about this deck, because honestly it reads well, it looks nice, it connects to the story well, and it's not a big and long read. So if you haven't read the story, it's a few hours max, even if you read slowly. So I would suggest to read the story, get the deck, and see how well they are connected. So honestly, I'm happy that I have a chance to talk about this one, and it's definitely a deck that I like to use during summer. Okay, 2 more left. Another one collecting to books, connected to books. It's The Lord of the Rings. I haven't really worked with this one yet. It's a new one, and I haven't had the chance or the time. I got the deck because I Lord of the Rings, but because I really wanted one that has this type of art style. I don't know if it's wood block or lino cut. It kind of looks like how I made a few stamps with lino cut, so maybe it's that. But it's it's pippish, but we knew that before getting, or I knew that before getting, so it's not a disappointment like the Supernatural. And I think the characters were there, were well picked. Obviously, it's a huge fandom. It's very personal. It can be done in 100 million ways and still be good. So, I could look at that fool. I'm really hoping to have enough time to work with this deck to be really familiar with. So I'm definitely not getting rid of this one, because I just love the books, and I love the movies, and I love this deck so far. Look at that, the end. So I want to work with it. So this is not going anywhere. And I'm kind of feeling like rereading Lord of the Rings. It's just, to be honest, every time those damn elves leave Middle Earth, I get so heartbroken that it's really hard. I mean, in the movies, when that happened, that was the end of the third movie, when they leave, I was just crying like an idiot, like, honestly. That was just so heartbreaking, you know, taking magic with them, like, oh, please don't, like, come back, and all that feeling. So yeah, I know, you know, fandoms, I get invested. And the last one, but I have to check, but yes, this is the last one, is the newest, is the Buffy deck. And I didn't want to do this video before this deck has arrived. Turns out that the guidebook was messed up. I didn't even realize, because I just checked a few card descriptions, but I didn't went through it. And then I watched Pickable Rose's video about it, and it turns out that this probably is the first draft for the guidebook, and it's not matching a lot of times with what's on the a card, because they probably changed their mind about what to pick for cards, which is interesting to see, to be honest, that they went from something to what actually ended up on the cards. But if you don't know Buffy, you're just gonna get confused. You will have no idea what's happening on the card. Like the Two of Cups were one of those, because we have Faith and Buffy on here, and I don't even remember who was on. Maybe Angel and Buffy or something like that. In the description. So if Inside Edition comes out with a new edition from this one, I don't know if I'm like, it would be nice if they would, you know, just allow people who bought the deck to get the guidebook separately, like not for free, because obviously it takes money, it's paper, I don't want it for free, but I would love the option to buy it separately. Maybe I'm gonna just propose that, like, get some extra printing from the guidebook and sell it separately for a lower price, because I would love a fixed guidebook, to be honest, because I'm interested in why, you know, like what they see in cards when they put this deck together, because I think it's very well done, otherwise, turns out. But yeah, this is one of the cards that now I know that the description is not matching the image, and I was really curious about, you know, like Evil Willow, the vampire Willow, why this was the Three of Swords and stuff like that. So but right now we don't know. I also, there's something that I don't like, are the borders. It doesn't seem really, like, I don't know, it's just too much. So I'm probably gonna trim the deck, which is, I don't think it's gonna, you know, mess with shuffleability or stuff like that. But look at that sun, that's just so good. So yeah, another one. Now I see all the cards that are not fitting the description in the guidebook, but it's still a great deck. I mean, the illustration and what they picked for cards are still great. I'm so happy it's fully illustrated, so it's not a disappointment. And see, you can do that. So Supernatural needs to be redone. And there's gonna be a new one coming out in October, and I wish Inside Edition would just consider people living outside of the UK and US to send decks to review, because I would love to see the Good Omens deck, but I'm not entirely sure what I think about it, you know, because it's too important. Terry Pratchett is, if not my all-time favorite author ever, and his word and like Discord, and his work is just too important for me just to get a deck, because ooh, David Tennant and, you know, like Good Omens, and wow, I'm not gonna get it unless it's good, but it will be fun to be, you know, get it as soon as it comes out. But, you know, Inside Edition doesn't like sending stuff into Europe for some reason, and I know what's the reason, you know, it's money, so I know, I get it. I just wish I could get them to send me a deck, because that would be cool. Yeah, I know. But yeah, this is the last one. And I'm just looking at the decks, like, I'm gonna count the good ones. So this is one, the Game of Thrones, the Little Prince. I'm gonna say Lord of the Rings is good as well, even though I haven't really worked with it. Dungeons and Dragons is gonna be good once I get the fixed one. So that's 5 out of I have 11. So I think it's good. Because, with fandom decks, the other way around could be big one, like bigger or higher the number. But yeah, I'm mostly pleased with my fandom decks. I think, especially with Insight Edition, they are really trying to improve. I do think that they are listening to what people say. They still mess up, but we're humans. Even publishing houses are filled with humans. So this was an oversight. I don't know how this happened, but I can understand. We make mistakes. It's okay. Call me. But yeah, I do think that they are improving, which is nice to see. Because obviously they want to make money out of things that people like, and I think it's a very smart thing to do. I'm not gonna, like be mean about it. Especially if I get something out of it that I like and useful, like this or the Game of Thrones book, or whatever tarot. But when they do it badly, it's harder not to see that it's bad because the fandom. So I think it's risky to make things that are bad because people are gonna be like, but I know everything about these characters and I know you didn't actually put any effort into it. So it's not as easy as it might seem. It's very, very difficult to please a fandom, but it's very easy to infuriate them. But 5 out of 11, I think it's good. So yeah, I'm gonna stop babbling and go back to packing my room. Hope this was interesting. I hope the angle was still good and you were able to see the cards. Every deck that I showed have a flip through and a first impression, or like walkthrough. Back then I called it like that on my channel. So if you want to see all the cards, you just need to search my channel for that. Yeah, I think everything. Yeah, I showed everything. But yeah, thank you so much for being here, and hope to see you soon in a different setup, I guess. Bye.